Hi, so today I'm hosting a call with my friend Irina Mikhailova. She'll be joining us in just a moment. We are going to be talking about healing, spirituality, and creativity. And here she is. Let's see. I think, Irina, you might have to. Oh, here we go. Invite. Haven't done this a whole lot. So are we in? I invited you. There we go. Okay, great. Hi there.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great. I'm turning you up right now and I'm going to adjust my thing so that I'm more upright. Okay. Um, okay, this is going to bear with me a moment. I didn't realize it was going to partially cut me off there. Okay. Hi. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome to the
Thank
call,
you.
Irina. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today about healing and spirituality and creativity. Um, yeah, it's funny, Irina, actually, this is our first time seeing each other in quite a long time, right?
It's true, yeah. We have seen last time we were on the beach, I remember, on Lemon Tour, actually, the one we love.
Many years. So that was 2008, I believe. And
That's
so
right.
we actually haven't seen each other since then. And so it's really cool, actually, because we've been in touch ever since then. And you reached out to me just spontaneously a couple of years ago with this really beautiful idea of this video project for dance and music and a collaboration. And we've been in a process with that ever since for the last couple of years. And one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you to this call is because all the conversations we have focused around these topics of healing and spirituality and creativity. And I thought, gosh, it would be so fun to share our conversation with the public because all of them have been so, every time I speak with you, I feel so inspired and I feel like lit up and I feel like, man, we just go deep into these processes and these topics. So thank you so much for joining me here on this
Thank
call
you
today.
so much. Thank you for inviting me. I agree with you. I feel like we are kindred spirits in more ways than one. And I think the world requires a bit of a change. And I think you and I not beating around the bush. We just go right into it because we feel that need for change, right? As many other people that tuned into what's happening right now with the planet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and we talk a lot about the restoration of the feminine energy through all this work that we're doing and through these topics of healing and spirituality and creativity. I mean, that's even been one of the main themes of this creative project that we've been brewing up for the last couple of years is really highlighting like the essence and the value, the benefit, the need to support the feminine energy, the balance of the feminine in our world.
Exactly. You know, naturally, even though I don't have kids and I'm not planning on having kids, I think women, I would say most of us somehow have that nourishing energy, just like if you think about our planet as well, like we get so much from it without even thinking about it, like the food, the grounding, the air, it just so much comes. It just the earth gives, and we're so kind of raised with, in a sense, taking it for granted. We're like, oh, okay, well, it's always here. But if you think about it and you connect to it, it's actually quite important, I find, to be grateful for, because as you know, things can change, and it's not to like necessarily worry about some kind of drama, but more to be really connected to what needs to happen right now, is to teach younger generations, oh, actually, you can grow your own food. And have you ever seen how carrot grows? Things like this, small little things that give us so much joy and appreciation on a daily basis. And I think when you learn something like that, you naturally connect to that nourishing feminine energy that this time requires immensely.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's easy to lose connection with the gratitude for all that the earth gives us because we're not, a lot of us don't grow our own food. We just go to a market and we just put veggies in the bag. You know, it's just like we're not connected to the very source that we're receiving so much from as much as we were, you know, once upon a time, right? So yeah, I would love to hear from you a little bit about your own journey with the topics of healing and spirituality and creativity. Like, what's your path been with that?
I think naturally we all possess those uh, sort of instincts in us, but obviously each of our lives are so different. And um, I'm very grateful for my parents, exposing us to all three quite early in age. My father was a composer and very well-known musician, and so creativity was part of our lives from early age. I just remember buzzing from like wanting to write music or wanting to paint, and writing a first few little songs when I was already 6 years old. So like it just kind of like the channel opens. It didn't feel to me that I was doing that. I just kind of felt I was pulling that out from the ether. And healing my mother, I just, again, so blessed and grateful. My mother actually was a natural healer. So she took us to Tibetan doctors. What she couldn't heal herself, usually she would be doing some herbal tinctures, etc., healing us with food, nutrition. But when we get certain cases that she needed help, she would take us to Tibetan doctors, and we would drink these interesting bitter herbs, I remember. And that's why actually growing up, I enjoy bitter herbs. People go like at me going, oh, wow, you could handle this. I'm like, I actually like it. So yeah, I feel lucky being born to a mother like that. That just showed us that everything is possible. You don't have to depend on doctors. You can actually do a lot of healing yourself with everything that is growing around us. And I still feel now when I'm walking in some wild area, I look for plants and see if I recognize them, and if any of them are medicinal, etc., etc. And so again, blessed to have that block of my early conditioning being, strong part of my life. So, and then spirituality, yeah, as we all have that, again, just probably depend on what our parents do with that in early age, how they expose us to spirituality. My mom was somewhat paganish, so I think my spirituality is really based on love of nature. So love of um, herbs, nutrition, yeah, all the basics, the ground and the air and the water. That's my God basically. And connecting to it and appreciating it, and of course connecting to your own source. My mom would do this exercise, which is quite well known. You stand on the earth, you connect to the ground, and then you connect to the ether. So to me, that's just something that I've been doing to heal myself, and I find it works amazingly fast and well. So again, I in a sense kind of didn't have to discover much on my own. I felt like maybe I've chosen this type of parents to experience that in depth from early age, and to continue growing with it as I go further into the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And really quick, Irina, I don't know if you're seeing this on your end, but your video is really blurry. I don't know if it's just a matter of your connection or not, but
It's probably my connection. I'm very sorry. Yeah.
okay.
Even
Yeah,
though I'm
it's okay.
sitting
I
very
can hear you
close to
fine
the
though.
modem. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. It's fine. I can hear you just fine. Um, yeah, so that's so amazing for you that you were born into all that. And so that really was a big part of your foundation in what connected you to healing and spirituality and creativity. And then eventually you became like, you're a performance artist. I mean, that's one of your big like main pillars, right, is your performance art. So, and to me, when I've watched you and when I've listened to you sing, I feel like your performance art is where you're really like bringing all three of these pieces together, and you're just like expressing it out to the world. Like there's something like really it seems like almost like it's like enchanting, you know, when I watch you sing. There's like a almost like a spell being, but like in a good way, right? Like you're a good witch, and you use your performance art to like express this energy into the world.
Thank you, Kelley. That's what I love about you. You're like so connected to that part of the expression. You know, yes, I think it also expressing this little like a chanty like little vocal loops. It's true. It does feel like it could be interpreted as anything, like the prayer, or you know. It can be used for rain dance, right? Like Native American ceremonies. I mean, I think I don't think I've been conscious of that necessarily, and have chosen this way to express myself. I think it came uh, um, with birth. So, and maybe probably from ancestors to ancestors, it's passed on to me. So, I'm very really happy that I don't have to like decide, right? Like, let me do this musically or that musically. It just naturally comes, and I enjoy that moment of freedom. And it's amazing that you're so connected to that yourself, and that's why I think I wanted to work with you, you know, musically and dance with you, is because it's exactly how I would love to express. For us to express ourselves, you know, as a ritualistic sort of prayer, uh, um, and connection, right, to the elements and to ourselves and to that spirituality, healing, creativity that we are talking about today.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I'm so loving our process of collaboration, of just dreaming it up and just being like the vessels, and letting it guide us. And I'm so enjoying the process with you. And for me, I have a bit of a different background. I wasn't born into it, and I had to really find my way. And I was born into the church. I was born into Western medicine, just like a lot of people in the Western world are. And then I got to a point where I just subscribed as atheist, because it's almost like I had to wipe the slate clean, and then in order to, and then find my own way, you know, find my own way into the path. And quite honestly, if I'm totally honest about it, psychedelics was really the threshold that presented the pathway to me. It's like I had my first experiences, and once I passed that threshold, first of all, I had these couple different kind of realizations. One is that once I crossed that threshold, it was like I was saying to myself, like, I always knew there was so much more. I always knew it. I always, like, my whole entire childhood, the predominant feelings of my childhood were confusion, boredom, disenchantment. I remember being a little girl and looking around at life and just feeling like, no way is this why we're all here. Like, just no way. Like, it's just so, like, just flatline, you know, is how I experienced it as a child. And I just remember being so confused and so bored. And then finally I walked through that threshold that the psychedelic experience offered me, and it connected me to all the things I knew inside of me forever, my whole life. I always knew that there was so much more. And finally, like, these experiences connect. I was like, I knew it. And it also what those experiences offered me was just, you know, bringing it back to spirituality is the web of life connecting everything, you know, and just seeing that I am this one thread in this massive eternal web that just keeps growing, and keep all these connecting points, keep bringing things together. And it was the kind of thing that was like, once my mind saw, I could never see it differently. It was just like it rewired, and then it's been like that ever since. And so that's what I've been building off of ever since. And so then I got into studying natural healing, holistic medicine, nutrition, Chinese herbal medicine, shamanic healing techniques, energetic medicine, intuitive body work. And then it went into, and so I did that for probably a solid 4 years, but before it moved into creativity for me. And that bridge for me, one of the best things I ever did, I threw away my TV over 20 years ago. I gave my TV away and decided I'm not having a TV anymore. I grew up on, the TV was basically my friend when I grew up. It was my babysitter. It was my companion. It was like, so I think I was like just 21, and I decided this thing takes way too much of my time. And so I gave it away. And then it was like, well, now what do I do with myself? I have all this time now, Right. So that's when I got into creativity. I tapped into my creative energy, and it just never stopped. And once I tapped into it, like the creativity piece is like, it's what took it. It's like, it's almost like the thread that wove together the spiritual and the healing, the parts of me that are into healing and spirituality. The creativity piece was almost like the thread that brought it all into like a material form, really, Yeah. Beautiful. So that's my history with it. And as a performance artist as well, I also feel like, when it's time to get on that stage, there's this magical thing that happens where it's like Kelley Mountain is not in the room anymore, Right. And right. It's actually the performance art has been, I think, one of my greatest practices for allowing just presence and channeling to happen, allowing me to put my normal world identity and my story and all of that, leave it off the stage, go on the stage and just be the channel and the vessel and see what happens. Just like move with that energy, and see what happens. And it's always been the performance art has always been a very powerful practice and reflection to me of like, where am I at with that, right? Right. How do you experience it when you're on the stage, like these three things?
Yeah, I relate to every word you say. It's like a vessel and you channel, definitely. I have a tendency to want to close my eyes because it's easier for me to connect to that source. And I remember performing in America, people are like, why don't you look at us as the audience? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of giving it to you energetically more than through my eyes. And, if you think about maybe other forms of art, like the reggae, where they look at the audience and they go upbeat and up and down and they engage with the audience, and it's beautiful. And I love that. And I remember going, well, that's not, I'm not just an entertainer. I need to connect to that source, and surely I found a way to do both, but mostly when I'm actually really in the zone, and I need to close my eyes and be there in order for me to give. That's I find, best way for me to actually share what I can pull out of there through the vessel, like you say, and share it with the audience energetically. And sometimes it's also not about seeing someone, because I would get beautiful letters from people saying, I wasn't able to walk, or I've been sick, and I listen to your music, and thank you so much for the healing energy. And I remember when I started getting those letters, I was so surprised, because even though healing has been part of my life since childhood, I was like, oh, I didn't know my voice has that effect. So it was quite a discovery, right? And people that connected to you in a deep way allow you to understand and show you who you are. And so I'm actually very grateful, like, for those people that wrote me those little letters and shared their experience with me, because I then learned, oh, I can do something more with it. You know, again, even though I performed with a dance band, and it was kind of a little more tribal experience than it, like I said, entertaining. So people were dancing and connected to it, kind of more psychedelically, I'd say. But I still was quite amused that I had that talent. I did not know when I started getting those letters, and it allowed me to understand myself, maybe learn of the gifts that I could still share and use in the healing practices, right? Because I actually know quite a lot of dancers and musicians that do healing modalities. They are pretty much go one together. I'm amazed how many women I know that are either musicians or dancers that do this, like the herbal, Ayurvedic, homeopathic or Chinese medicine, or a combination of healing arts. And it just kind of shows me that, in a sense, we just connect into that source again. That's existed before. That's how in ancient times women healed, themselves, their children, their loved ones. Think about it. If, like, imagine the cave times, the fire, the child needs to sleep, you could hear female voice, everybody just energetically comes down. You were hunter gatherer, so of course you're going to go and discover different herbs, for healing, this, that, and that. Imagine how much work they have done for us to enjoy that knowledge. But to me, that's just so soothing, that simplicity of the moment, how natural that is for female to actually be the healer.
Yeah, I could say the same about, like, in my world, the people that are into the healing arts, most of them are also artists of some kind. So that's interesting. And actually it brings up a question that I thought of, that I wanted to bring forward in this chat, which is like, when I was thinking about our call and like different ideas that I was inspired by, I'm a very visual person. And so I got this image of a Venn diagram in my mind, and I'm seeing like healing, spirituality, and creativity. And then there's this place in the middle where they all meet, right? Where they all overlap, and like something like what, and I'm curious for you, like just off the top, like what to you is like when all those things are the space that they're all overlapping, what happens in that space?
I think for me, it's connecting to the source and having that liberty to connect to the source, right? And having that freedom to be you and connect to your gifts and your divine source. Therefore, we came from it. We'll go back to it, right? And I understand, like you're saying, that throwing TV away, like, and disconnecting from media, and what media on a daily basis tells you what you are and what you should be and what you should be doing. And so your example of throwing TV is just classic and amazing and beautiful. And I love that. This is when we actually do that, and we don't allow the culture or a system or a country to tell us what we should be limited to be thinking of who we are actually on a daily basis, but instead actually putting that aside and connecting to you, finding you, like you have shared again, Kelley, doing it through psychedelics or whatever other methodologies people can find in their own world, and people drawn toward it. I think that there's a lot of particular festivals to like explore this kind of possibilities, because we know there is more, like you knew that there is more. And that's why, you threw that TV away and you went inside and you took that chance. And I think if you think about it, I've observed a lot of beautiful, intelligent people that I absolutely love that like really glued to TV, and they're like, well, this is what's happening. I'm like, well, I mean, right now you just trot and you actually very stressed because you've been watching this TV for like 8 hours. So, I mean, if you just turn this off for a second, and you and I, let's just talk, let's have tea, let's go to a park, Let's go to a park, just have a little moment. Let's go touch the grass. Let's just inhale. Let's be barefoot. And we did that. And you could see her face transcended. And I'm not saying I remember to do this on a daily basis. I do, because I have to work with people, but I do also have moments when I'm, allow the stress overwhelm me, and that's why I need to go outside and stand barefoot and go, okay, calm down, everything is fine. It's just another day that can, you can either really be successful at it or just allow this to devour you. So we all have those choices and chances. The world has been dense, a lot going on, but in a sense, I feel like it's pushing us to grow. It's kind of like, okay, humanity, we've been quite gentle with you for so long. This is a no-no, this is a no-no, and come on, wake up, grow up, and move on, okay? You can do it, we trust you can. And so it does feel harsh to many of us, but the truth is, there's no other way. There's no other way. We can take it as hard, hardship, or we can also switch our perception and go, oh, okay, I can do that, and all of a sudden everything just opens up, and you can breathe, and it flows, and it's all how we really look at the world. And that's why trusting the media to guide you in your spirituality, healing, creativity, for me personally, is not the choice I would make. I'm not completely putting a black marker on it. There are amazing artists out there that doing that work, and they reach larger amount of people through somewhat accessible beat and modern dance, or etc. And if they have that message and they can do it and cover larger audience, great. But I think when we stop time and we take a moment to connect, and if we have a hard time connecting to our body and mind, because some people don't feel comfortable in their body and mind, then, like I said, go sense something else. If you visual, look, enjoy the green, enjoy the blue, enjoy anything you can see around in nature. If you're auditory, listen. There are the birds out there. There's a beautiful creatures all over if you want to really connect and listen. And if you can aesthetic, feel that grass, touch it. Touch the tree, touch the ground, feel your skin, just for 5 minutes is enough, actually even 5 seconds, just to connect to that part of you that is dominant, right? We have all the senses, of course, but just connected to that dominant part of you for a second will actually push away all this other stress and all this other messages from media, what you ought to be. Right. And I mean, we're all challenged by it. I'm not saying like, oh, on a daily basis, I'm successful. No, I'm not. And it's okay. And what I learned in that, when I'm I'm learning not to be hard on myself, because I actually naturally go, better. Why? It's like, well, here's my chance not to be hard on myself. And then that keeps me in this beautiful flow and grace, instead of the hardship and tension and obstacles and limitations that I'm creating energetically for myself, that not going to serve me or anyone else that is in my space. Of course, easy to say, hard to do, right? I'm also aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, well, especially when we're just learning a skill, it's always going to be a little bit harder to access, right? And then it's a kind of thing where the more we exercise it, it's like a muscle. The more we flex it, the more we use it, the stronger it's going to be. So with some practice and with time, it's something that's just easier to drop into. I agree with you. Like, I'm not like perfect and like on top of my game every single day. We're not meant to be. And like you, I afford myself the fact that every single day is different. There's just a total variation of my energy level, my, stress level, and different things I'm having to manage. And it's just not realistic to think that I should be at this like top level peak performance every day. We move in cycles. We're part of nature. Nature works in cycles. And like you, I also, I can say I feel like I have a pretty balanced relationship with giving myself that gentleness and compassion, without the same time, I do have a high standard for myself. And even though I
Right.
know every day comes with its variations, I'm holding myself to a standard that every single day I'm going to meet that day with the best of what I'm able to give it, you know, and some days it's 100% and some days it's 70%, you know, but if that's the best I can do that day, that's the best I can do. But I will strive to meet that mark. There's so many things like this in life where there's just like this fine line that we have to walk, where it's like, you know, you go a little too much in either direction and you're
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
creating an excess or a deficiency in some way, right? But so it's
Yeah.
like how to like really strike that balance. And you know, and I thought of when that image of the Venn diagram came to mind of like healing, spirituality, creativity, and then they're all
Mm-hmm.
overlapping in the center.
Mm-hmm.
The very first thing that came to my mind was transformation.
Oh,
Was
beautiful.
like that's the space where we transform, like,
Mm-hmm.
and of course we can do that through each thing on its own, but there's something about
Mm-hmm.
when those three things come together, it just is like this supercharge of transformative energy.
Right.
It's almost like it's like the creativity part is where we get to like channel it into a physical form of some kind. You know, it's not only a felt experience, that like a shift that happens inside that no one can see. It's like when we put it into a creative expression, and
Mm-hmm.
now it's out there, and if we want to, we could share it with people. And yeah, I just love, you know, all three of these topics are highly transformative on their own, but there's something about when they're all connected that like, it's like a magic recipe
Yeah.
for something, you know?
Well said, Kelly. Well said. I agree with you.
Oh,
So
thank
it's yeah,
you.
exactly. That's beautiful way to connect them all. Definitely. I mean, it's like you said also when you were a kid, I'm like, is this it? This is it? Or there's more? What I'm feeling there is more, like you said when you were growing up. And me too, I remember just going, why am I here? I,
Yeah.
some parts of this existence are really not something I want to be experiencing, you know? And
Yeah.
obviously now I don't ask those questions. There's reasons for all of us to be here. And again, what's that reason? To transform, to grow, to learn, to transcend, right? It's exactly that.
Well, and I think like what you said, your first response to that was source. And I think that it's really like two different aspects of the same thing, where it's almost like the source, like what you said, it's where we come from, it's where we go to. And our process of transformation is like our process of becoming just who we truly are, that we are an expression of source energy, and we each carry our own unique signature, that our own imprint of what
Mhm.
that is. And when we transform, when we give ourselves that opportunity, it's like we're tapping into source to bring us to like continue taking us deeper down the path of becoming the thing that we
Exactly.
already are and that we're just trying to get back to.
Exactly, exactly. Like, yeah, I love what you said. We'll have a unique signature. It's so true. It's that's why it's important not to rely on media telling you what you're supposed to be doing and feeling, and that's why I think partially I without explanation I decided, you know what, uh, just I need to not entertain like everyone on a daily basis, let's say with like, oh, this is this photo or this photo, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm eating. I kind of found it a bit like, no judgment if people find fun doing that, but I kind of felt like, no, I'd rather like cocoon right now and to really work on my art, work on myself, and then create a hybrid that I'm happy with, and then to put it out in the world, you know. And that's why I love this kind of conversations, just being innocent in the moment and sharing, because I just feel like I've seen this. I don't even remember her name, to be honest, and I don't feel bad about it. I've seen this lady, like a lot of followers. She's in maybe her 50s, looking very sassy, but the posts she was making, again, I don't want to judge, but I was just like, thank you. This is exactly what I don't want to do. It was just silly. And then silly is not necessarily bad. Sure, you can laugh at it today, but from someone who has so many followers, like, here's your chance, lady, to engage, to help, especially with this, like, uh, pandemic and so many people depressed and dying. It's just, I kind of found it, again, I don't want to judge, but I kind of found it like, just time wise, like, just, this is not what time needs right now. This is not what we need right now. And so, sure, go ahead and, have your crowd and have fun and everything. It's not up to me to give you permission, but that's why I actually went into my cocoon, and I felt like I don't have to explain myself. I don't have to do this and this. I don't have to do what the Facebook or Instagram or TikTok demands from me. But when I'm ready, I will. And it's okay. So it's like you said, I'm actually just learning not to be hard on myself. Since childhood, I have been, a lot has been expected of me. I've been very good in school, in sports, creativity, like, just 100% in all areas. And it was very easy in a sense. But now I just feel that even though I care for my friends and community and fans, I also feel they know me and they connect to me. I don't need to entertain them with some silliness, Not that I don't like being silly here and there, I do. But I do want to really find that perfect hybrid of healing, spirituality, and creativity. Even though it is part of me, how do I want to deliver it to the audience? And the audience already has given me feedback saying, oh, okay, this was very healing. Oh, thank you so much for this. Or the audience already helping me to form that hybrid, because they're responding to the forms of art that I have expressed, a particular way that allowed me to go, oh, okay, because I like to have that vision, even though I'm type of a person that can express myself in variety of areas. I'm sure you can relate. You can dance, you musical, you a healer, et cetera, et cetera. It's just never ending in a sense. And just doing, again, healing, being able to heal without knowing, actually, people with my voice invites me to that, to develop that modality where I actually can help people not only with supplements or detoxes or psychiatric work in a sense, but also with just basic primal soothing power of the voice. Just simple like that, like the example I brought as a little mom singing in a cave, to everyone around. So it's that it's always with us, but we are bombarded by what we gotta do, what we gotta be, and so it's not always easy to connect to that simplicity. And I crave that. I crave simplicity. I crave that kind of simple expression that, sure, I can take a nice candy and make it all colorful outside and choose all the bright, beautiful paper to attract your attention. But what's important to me is what's inside than what's outside. And I don't new time is to present it to you. Here, look at this. Feel it. Sense it, taste it. Sure, you can also engage your visual senses, but I don't want to have any fake artificial excitement that does not allow that person to actually have a better life. If you think about it, that fake artificial excitement lasts a few seconds. And is that person fulfilled after? Not really. So it's experiences, right? Not necessarily all of the material things, experiences that are important. That's why so many amazing people go out in the world and create those experiences. And that's what I feel you and I is after also in the project that we have been brewing and talking about. It's that's why it's taking time. Good things take time, because when we're ready, it's exactly, we want that connection, we want the depth, we want the powerful healing outcome.
Yeah, you know, what you said just, it brought a few different things to mind right now for me. Like, one is how I'm relating to you in the sense, like, as a performance artist, like, part of what you're not saying this, but because I relate to this piece, like, I'm hearing it in this way. It's like, because we respect people's time so much, like, if I'm gonna perform something, or so part of another way that I channel like creativity, healing, and spirituality is through event production. So if I'm gonna perform something, or if I'm gonna create an event, and I'm gonna call people's attention to come spend their precious time that they're never gonna get back again, right? Like, they're gonna come spend their time, maybe they're gonna spend some money, like watching me or engaging with something I made, right? An experience, a performance. If they're gonna give me their time, I want to give back by giving something that adds value to their life. You know,
Right.
I want them to feel like when they walk away, they were given something that's going to benefit them, right? Even if it's
Beautiful.
just so much as like being inspired, right? Because that inspiration has the potential to light a spark inside. And that spark has potential to fan into a fire of transformation. And they, from that, to help them become who they are, you know, through having a communal experience, or for watching some kind of performance that inspires them. It has the potential to wake them up from the inside. And that's so needed. It's so needed to have that spark lit from the inside, because otherwise, no, people aren't gonna do the work. You know, people aren't gonna do the work on themselves just because someone told them that they should. I mean, even people who pay for healing work and coaching work, a part of them might want that transformation experience. But oh my gosh, how many times I've been met with just this complete resistance to, like, the spark's not lit. You know, it hasn't gotten to that point yet. So, and it's a kind of thing where, you know, you can only guide someone so far. I mean, you're not living their life with them and like nitpicking every single moment of choice that they make in their life of like, really, you're going to do that? That's the thing, you know, like we already talked, you know, right? So it's like, yeah, I hear that. And I appreciate that so much, that that's also what you, are holding as a value of, like, when people give their time and their attention, that means something. And that's an opportunity to you as someone who's going to offer and transmit, like there's just so much content and media and entertainment that it doesn't, like, you know, does it help? Does it help? Does it inspire? Does it add something? And you know, and I agree with you that I feel like it's almost like it's kind of like an honor to be given people's attention and their time, and again, perhaps even their money, like their resources, right? Like if I put on an event, I get paid. If I do a performance, I get paid, you know? So it's like, give the people something that they can, like, a takeaway, right? Not just like, yeah, something that inspires. And another piece that you brought up that made me want to ask you too is, like, as a performance artist, like, I know when I'm on stage, yes, I'm there giving this thing, I'm sharing this offering, but what the people don't realize, all the people watching, is that the act of me being witnessed by all of them is a healing experience for me. That's almost like my own healing and journey of becoming it. Almost like just a simple act of being witnessed, like, really, like, anchors that down into me. And I wonder for you, like, do you relate to that as well?
Of course.
Like, do you
Of course
feel like you're given something from being witnessed?
Definitely. There's that exchange, even if we don't realize we connected, we're all connected and we're connected to the source, right? Even if some of us feel lost, we're still connected. So that moment you're talking about, that's the moment of connection. That's the moment we are one, which so many of us feel resentful toward. I remember myself having an interview at Azora Festival in Hungary. uh, it's on YouTube somewhere about we are one. And I say, well, how can I be one with the distraction and the greed and, the politics that are just not serving humanity or planet? And now I have a different perspective on that. In order for us to actually bring all that to a higher vibration, this judgment and disconnect and separation not going to help thinking. Again, we are one but connected to the source, but obviously that is not going to serve the planet or humanity. And so therefore, energetically, instead of losing our energy on judging them, we're actually dragging them with us higher without asking their permission by doing something that serves humanity, right? And igniting and inspiring other people that do the same, or following those that are already ahead of us. So we connect into that larger, beautiful force that is helping to make that one what it in a sense meant to be and what it is, right? Everything, what I don't remember who said that, everything has a right to exist, right? And in order for us to be connected to the light, we need to know what darkness is, right? In order for us to be drawn toward being healthy, one has to go through being sick. That's what happened to me. The reason I also became a healer, because I had to survive 3 little illnesses, and I'm actually began not feeling like, oh my God, why did it happen to me? I feel, thank you, got the lesson, we'll bring it forward. Of course, it's not always clear. To some of us, it gets overwhelming. I have beautiful people that I try to help and heal, and it's not easy for them. There's like a big T trauma, and even though you could, it's been exercises to help them to free up their mental space, still uh, time and work required to really for them to open up to what they are capable of. But because the sickness kind of just has passed from ancestry over and over and over, and so it became quite heavy. So you experience that, right, as well. So but a lot of that work is happening. Certain conferences that I've joined, I see the Sia and Alanis Morissette and the even the actors joining my in June something, I don't remember exactly, 20 something is one conference where Hugh Jackman is joining, and don't remember, everyone knows him anyway. The other 2 actors joining. Why? It just shows you that, again, the art and healing coming together. So all these actors and singers are coming naturally into this therapeutic healing world, trying to help, to share their experience, and not just be the icon where everyone goes like, oh my God, they must be perfect. No, Sia shared her hardship, her the way she grew up and how she feels, and that just makes you closer, and not put people on pedestal and go, if she can do it, I can do it. That gives you possibility and understanding that you don't have to put people. I never liked that, actually, that we so disconnect and just make other humans our idols. I sure adore it to your heart's content, but that creates also separation. That makes me, not me, makes some people feel like, oh, they're better than me. But that's not what it's about. That's why there's a lot of connection happening with the healing world, therapeutic world, psychiatry, psychology world, where singers and actors coming together to share their experiences and to create that beautiful path toward rest of the humanity come and join us. You can be that. You can do that. You know, it's all accessible. You know, it's always there for you. That's the thing. The source is there for us at all times. Do we remember this always? No, we don't. And sometimes we don't because we're not raised in the conditions that allow us to be connected. Like you felt something inside you. This is not it. This is not enough. This is not what life is all about. There got to be more, and you found it. And so, sure, for some people they find it fast. For some it takes some time, and some never heal. And I see that, and it makes me feel sad, of course, because I'm an empath. That all their life, this beautiful woman that I know, she suffered so much. She was abandoned, and she does not want to be in this life anymore. And I understand, but my heart also aches feeling, but you have that chance to heal. You have that chance to rise like a phoenix from the ashes. But it's not for me to say. That's her path. Here I can only observe and support and give love, love, and love without any expectations or advice, because she has her own way to come to that source, and she will.
Yeah. Yeah, it just, that little story just reminds me how part of the healing journey and part of spiritual practice is learning more about what's true and what's not true. And there's this opportunity to align ourselves with the path of truth. And something, the path of truth it's not for the faint of heart. It's at times, it's a very demanding path at times. It at times requires a lot. And sometimes what it requires is a complete dissolving of all the previous structures that we found comfort in, even if the structures themselves were uncomfortable. It's so much of it comes down to like the way we identify. We are so locked into this identity that has to do with like the details of like my name, my story, where I came from, what happened to me, all these things that people, and we all do. This is part of our human journey, is like how I think part of the healing journey is recognizing at some point that that is not my identity, actually. That actually, yes, these things happened, and these are part of, these are details that I use to communicate about who I am or where I've been and what I've done, but it's not who I am. It's not what I am, and allowing like the separation, but and so there's like alignment with like what's really true and what's just a story. But sometimes the alignment with what's true can bring us, I'm amazed by the topic of truth. I think about this a lot, where at the same time it has this capability to be this like completely destructive force, like sometimes to align with our path of truth means that we are going to dismantle our life as we know it, and that can be very scary and be very anxiety and fear provoking for anybody. I mean, look, we all want a sense of comfort, familiarity, security, connecting, belonging, right? And so when we're going to dismantle an old version of ourselves and the life that we built around that sense of self, that's a big journey. But what I also know is that while the path of truth has the ability to dissolve and deconstruct, it has the ability to create, and to create in a way that like when we are in alignment with that truth, what we can create from it, it's like the fulfillment of our dreams and our wishes, our desires, our heart and like soul purpose, and it will attract to us the people, situations, opportunities, the positions that lift us up, and that and put us into a position of even greater joy, health, success, vitality, wealth, influence, right? But it's like when I think about like the healing journey and why some people don't choose to engage with it, like, I mean, clearly some people just don't even know it really exists, right? And that's, you know, there's so many different levels of awareness around these topics. And but then there's people that know it exists and are just like, I'm good on that. You know, they're like, I like my big house. I like the relationship that, yeah, sure, it's not been fulfilling me for many years, but you know, like it's there, it's stable. And, you know, I like all my fancy things. I like, you know, where it's just like, and you know, no judgment. Again, like, if there's nothing wrong with wanting that comfort and that stability and that
Right.
familiarity, you know,
Yeah.
but it's just about, like, for me, it's like, it comes down to just like true happiness and a vital connection with oneself, true intimacy with oneself and life, basically. And from there, because like when we're not intimate with ourselves, then how are we intimate? And that intimacy is what creates, like, you know, again, like we are a communal tribal creature. Like we need to be connected to something. We need to feel like we belong to something. But what is it like? I just imagine there's this, like, when you're not intimate with yourself, even if you have a ton of people around you, but you're not intimate with yourself, therefore they're not intimate with who you really are. Like, gosh, what a feeling of loneliness that actually really is, right?
Right. Yeah, if you can connect to yourself and know who you are, I think you will have a very artificial connection to others. You will not be able to connect deeply to anyone else if you're not connected to you first. For sure. And it happens naturally. Again, people not aware of that, you know, they don't know how, so it's not something to judge. But definitely these days it's very special, very easy for people to be disconnected. Just too much stimuli, and not the right type of stimuli. Yeah, it's interesting. Something else you said that triggered, that triggered, but it seems like I lost it. Yeah, something as you were sharing.
You know, yeah, actually, we're kind of at the end of our time here, and I wanted to just give some space. Like, is there anything you want to share about your work or your offerings? Do you want to let anybody here know about how they can get in touch with you or what you have to offer right now?
Yeah, actually, well, now that we're on Instagram, feel free to write to me here. What I do right now, I focus on healing. I actually help people with certain issues. I can give more info in detail when you connect to me. And I also still do music, and I teach voice lessons all over with people in all kinds of countries on Zoom or any other, you know, FaceTime or anything else that works for people. So, but yes, if it's something serious, I guess when it comes to healing practice, I would say I would need to connect to a person and talk to them rather than advertise it here.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this call. And as always, it's just been such a wonderful, rich topic of conversation. And I just love the natural dynamic that you and I always have of just, like you said at the beginning, we just dive in. It's basically like, hey, and then plunge, like face first, right? So it's so nice. I always love our talks, and so it's really nice that we got to do that here together, and then with a bunch of our friends here. For anyone that's more interested in me and my work, you can check me out at my website. It's goddessmodern.com, and on Instagram it's about goddess.modern. It's basically a lifestyle brand for women that are wanting to connect with their feminine energy through holistic wellness, feminine embodiment, transformational work, and intimacy. So thank you so much again. I hope everybody has a really good weekend. And thank you again, Irina.
All right. Take care, dear. Bye.
Okay, you too. Bye.